As humans living in the modern world, we sure still do love to go out in nature and admire its beauty. We love to lay in the sand at the beach on a hot sunny day and jump into the ocean to cool off. And it feels great to just be by the ocean. It's also fun to go for hikes in the mountains and forests where you get to roast sausages and marshmallows over a campfire. Animals are popular too right now, adopting pets from shelters. A pet is a companion that keeps us company. We even consider them a part of the family. But this love of nature and animals only actually occurs after humankind has overcome, conquered, and subdued them. For example, camping is only fun because there's national parks that have been terraformed for us humans by making certain parts uninhabitable by predators to humans. There's also flush toilets, running water, trails, and so on. And our beloved domesticated cats and dogs have been genetically engineered to have most of the fight edited out of them to make them more cute and cuddly for our pleasure. So if you observe closely to how people really treat their pets, even if it's with great care, you'll see the pets are actually their slaves. Just look at the way pet birds have their wings clipped and have to live in a cage. Flight is one of the most defining features of a bird that's born destined to fly but can't, ceases to be a bird. If this sounds depressing and you find yourself wanting to take a moral stand, it's okay to reevaluate your values, and if you're honest with yourself, you'll accept the fact that every human being has the potential to be both a god or a devil. Collectively, everyone has evil within them, as demonstrated by the Stanford prison experiments where students were put into positions of perceived power as guards while other students acted as prisoners. The experiments had to get cut short just after a few days because the guards were subjecting the prisoners to psychological torture and abuse. So collectively, humanity has these evil tendencies, what the psychologist Carl Jung called the shadow. There's also a personal shadow, which is different. But at the same time, we also have the potential for greatness. If you have no empathy for suffering at all, chemically, you're considered a psycho or a sociopath. But if you're at the opposite end of the spectrum, meaning you repress all of your shadow, the shadow will find a way to manifest itself outwardly by projecting itself onto others and the world. And this will hinder your potential for greatness by making you resentful and vengeful instead of aspirational. The work of integrating the shadow is what Carl Jung called shadow work. And in the book Thus Spoke Zarathustra by the philosopher Nietzsche, the main character describes looking into the sky, seeing an eagle carrying a snake, not as prey, but as a friend. This is a representation of shadow work. And a contemporary example of shadow work would be training in a combat sport or some kind of martial art where you learn to whoop someone's ass. Learning to put the ass whooping down integrates your aggressive desires for destruction in a healthy way that also strengthens your body and mind, enabling you to become a self, or to become yourself, because without shadow work, you don't actually have a self. You only have a persona. The persona is the personality, or the mask that you wear out into the world as a disguise that only appears good, having no evil or faults, and acts socially appropriate. It may say things like, "I would never do that," or "I would never do X." But the Stanford prison experiments say otherwise. You just haven't been in a position to get away with it yet. But the fully integrated self, on the other hand, is capable of overcoming those type of tendencies because it walks through the world with a sense of power, not resentment, aspiring to become something more than itself, to overcome its own animal nature, to overcome its own human nature, and to even overcome nature itself. Which is how we've developed the modern world, where nature and its inhabitants have been subdued. This is a key point to understanding our place in the cosmos, because if the natural world had to be subdued in order for humans to survive in it, then maybe the natural world was never intended for humans to begin with. Maybe ever since the dawn of civilization, the driving force has been a search for a home, or at least to make Earth become home. So where is the human world where only humans exist? In the same way, only certain species exist in the deepest parts of the abyss. If you were an emissary from another planet, from another star system, with an advanced civilization, and you were sent to make contact with the human world, You wouldn't land in the natural physical world like UFOs crash landing in Roswell. You would enter through what the scientist Karl Popper called World 3, the neurosphere, the world of imagination and intellect, of books, ideas, movies, and now cyberspace. World 3 is considered to be the actual human world because it's the only realm that is only inhabited by humans, and this world is as tangible as any other geographical location on a map. So as technology continues merging more and more with our imaginations and virtual environments become the norm, we could eventually leave the physical world altogether, and World 3 would become the new world. And if this happens, either humanity devolves by remaining complacent in trance-induced simulacras, or we become immortal, which allows us to penetrate into deeper realities, becoming post-human, or what Nietzsche called the Übermensch, or the Superman. But only when we stand at the end of history and look backwards in time can we begin to understand where we go from here.